Hi, this is Mr. Campbell, and this is my video blog for week 2 of the 2016-2017 school year. Like last week, going to give an update on where we got this past week in all my classes and where we're going to be headed this next week. And then we'll hit on some extracurricular stuff at the very end. Social Studies 8 this past week. The big thing was culture projects. We started talking about the different elements of culture, what makes up a culture, all those sorts of things. So talking food, clothing, religion, shelter, things like that. So the students got a little bit of an opportunity to share the different things that make up their culture. So things that they do in their daily lives, sort of their daily schedule, some rituals and maybe traditions that they have with their family. And then they and a couple of partners got a chance to look at the culture of some different Native American tribes. We specifically looked at the Aztecs, the Mayans, the Incas, and then also some North American tribes, so the Potawatomi, the Blackfoot, the Cherokee, the Creek, and a few others as well. So there's a lot of really good stuff. The students did a great job with their projects. This next week now, we sort of shift gears and shift focus as we try to set up for sort of the collision of two worlds. We're going to talk about sort of trade in Asia and Africa, the rise of things like Judaism, Christianity, and how that influences the Western European culture that eventually is going to make its way over here in the New World. That will sort of wrap up our first unit. It's kind of a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde sort of a unit where the first half is centered here in North America and the Native Americans, and the second half is sort of focused on Europe and what's going on and sets us up nicely for the second unit where Columbus is going to sail the ocean blue in 1492 and all that kind of good stuff. So that's Social Studies 8. U.S. history, big thing this week was talking about what happens after the revolution. Students had a couple days to work on looking at some foreign governments and how maybe they work. Essentially, it was set up as, we fight the revolution, we win, we kick the British off of the American continent, or at least our little section of the continent. Not the continent in total. So now what do we do? How are we going to govern ourselves? And so students looked at, chose a foreign government to look at, how do they handle legislative, executive, judicial matters? And then they could use that then sort of as a guidepost for, if we had to do all over again, how would these students do it? And, some kind of interesting ideas. Some students even ventured into putting out some laws that were interesting to say the least. And we've got just a few more of those to finish up in sixth hour. And then we'll be moving on next week to the Articles of Confederation, which is historically what happens after the revolution. Some of the drawbacks, all of the drawbacks, which there's a lot of them. And then also the Constitution. So how do those drawbacks lead into the Constitution that we have today? How is the Constitution a living document? Things like that. I like to spend some time on the Constitution because it is such an important document. And also it's a good primer for when they have government next year as seniors, or most of them will have government next year as seniors. Some of them, I've got a couple of students that are seniors, and so they might be having government right now. So that's U.S. history, where we've been, where we're going. Finally, dual credit U.S. history. We've been working our way through chapter 3, which is the New England and the Middle Colonies. Lot of lecture, but that class tends to be a lot of lecture. So with this chapter, it's talking about sort of the makeup of the cultural and societal makeup of the New England and the Middle Colonies. Really taking our time to go through, like today we talked about the Mayflower Compact. What is it exactly? Is it a form of government, or is it simply an agreement that the early pilgrims just sort of, agreed to and set themselves up for government down the road? We also, will have a quiz on on Monday over chapter 3. That will end chapter 3. Their packets are due on Monday as well. Their notes, their answers to the reading questions, and also their Quizlet, their vocabulary Quizlets. And then next week after the quiz, we're going to start looking at chapter 4, which is sort of American life in the 17th century. thinking that we might be setting up for maybe not a project, but some type of more interactive learning experience there with Chapter 4. Obviously, we're going to have some lecture notes that we're going to have to work our way through. They'll have reading, but I think also this is an opportunity to maybe have a chance to look at some writing samples or maybe use a program that I showed my 8th graders today, which is called Adobe Spark, which is a great program that is free for students to sign up for. I used it for my sort of About Me video that's on my website. Really super easy to use. So I'm hoping that maybe we can incorporate that towards the end of the week with dual credit. I think that would be a fun way to end the week. And then propel ourselves into Chapter 5. So that's all the classes that we've had. Extracurricular announcements. Tonight, obviously, is our football, week 1 of the football season. We're playing Riverton Park at home. So hopefully see everybody there, to support the football team. I know the volleyball team, had a couple games this past week, and competed very, very well. Cross country, I don't think cross country has had any meets just yet. I know tennis had a meet on Thursday, as we have a student athlete who's doing both football and tennis, so he was kind of telling me a little bit about that. They're again competitive, but fell short. So, a lot of really cool things going on this past week. Mr. Hoke celebrated a birthday, and so, Miss Cedarquist had a little bit of fun with him, putting up some posters in the hallway. So we had some fun with that. And once again, sort of looking forward to the next week. I don't have a schedule in front of me, but I know volleyball will have a couple games. If cross country didn't have a race this past week, I'm sure their season will start this week. So good luck to all those athletes, and good luck to any athletes competing this weekend as well. That's all I've got for now. So I'll see you next Friday. Have a great day.